I'm Julie Barkey with this Senate update. Senate File 2 was rolled out in the early days of session and would provide free tuition for 2 years of college in the MnSCU system. The goal is to fill a shortage of skilled labor in the state, and the proposal resurfaced on Tuesday in a news conference.
When we went around in the bonding trip actually now it's working on about a year and a half ago, every community we went into across the state, and we got into a lot of different communities. I think we probably had 400 or 500 different stops. Most of these communities had a worker shortage, and in particular a skilled worker shortage. And many of them said they just can't find enough people to hire. And in fact, my community back home, which has a newspaper, it comes out twice a week, has 4 pages. You wouldn't think that a small community of roughly 9,000 people would have 4 pages of want ads, help wanted ads for people, and they're busing people in from 60 to 100 miles around the city of Thief River Falls. And this was occurring not just up in Thief River Falls, it was occurring in Jackson, it was occurring in almost every community we went to. So what this proposed legislation is trying to get at is a way to encourage young men and women, and I say young men and women because the way the legislation is set up, once you have your high school diploma, you can automatically apply for this particular grant type program. And it is we're trying to also get at it. One more factor is the diversity. So we've included the GED, and we've also included the, take a look here, we've included the ABE program. So those people who have not gone through the traditional high school but have gone through an alternative type high school and have gotten a GED or ABE certificate can also go into this grant program. I think the most important part of this program isn't paying for the 2 years of college tuition, but it's the mentorship connection behind it. And for years, and I've been here a few years, we've all tried to figure out a way to make going to college successful. We've had a number of different problems over the years. And one of them is, we have not been able to get some of our more diverse populations into college. We can look at it and say, well, college is too expensive, and it is, and they can't afford it. And so what we're trying to do here is try to address some of that. And I can remember on the bonding trip, we were up in North Minneapolis, and we were talking about I believe it's the help me out, the light rail train that's going to go north up, the Botno light rail. And I said, up here you have, a lot of men and women that could get good jobs when that Botno goes up through North Minneapolis. And we have such a huge need for mechanics and heavy equipment operators and construction of people of all different categories. And so this would be an opportunity for many of those people to take advantage of a 2-year program, get a skill, and consequently have a job that pays very well. The way this works is, as I mentioned earlier, right after you get your degree, your certificate, high school diploma, you can sign up and go get into the program. The higher education office will have the forms and everything, and then you will be asked to fill out a FAFSA, which is basically what right now all college students fill out, the federal application for student aid, and you'll be asked to fill out the state grant forms, which are based on the FAFSA. And so the program is basically what we call the last dollar program. So those two grant programs would come first, and then the state would fill in the remaining portion of that demand or cost for the student. And then the student would get a mentor, and that mentor would then be a person who would be, I suppose, best categorized as a helper. Someone who would be sure that this student does everything possible to be successful and go through the college and get their certificate or diploma. And I think that in the evidence in Tennessee was that that is a very, very important component of this legislation.
Can you talk a little bit about the mentorship program? I mean, would they be meeting with these students once a year, once a semester? Do you know what that would look like?
The mentorship program is going to be more intense than that, and I believe they have to be sure that they meet with them, I think, is it once or twice a week? And so that they have to be sure that they're not only talking to them about things like, you know, have you been going to class or things like that, but also are you learning the social kinds of skills that you need for that particular job that you're trying to get a degree or a diploma through. Financial planning, a whole host of things. So it's a very comprehensive type of mentoring, and I think that's where a lot of the shortcomings come in, and when students go to college and do not have that type of a mentor, it really puts students at a huge disadvantage. When I look at our three children that have gone through college, the first one was aggressive. She was ended up, you know, being homecoming queen, and she was in all kinds of different activities. Our second child was very shy and would probably not have gone to college, except the oldest one grabbed him and said, "Come on here, I will help you out. I'll do your financial aid stuff and analysis." And the same way with the third child. So I think if you don't have the support system, either parents or a mentorship, you can be very likely to fail at along the way.
When you first talked about this in late January, you had estimated sort of a guess of $100 to $150 million providing it as cost. And it would serve an estimated 25,000 students or so. Now this has really gone down. Could you sort of explain how you got that pool of students down? Was it through cost capping of some way, of qualifications?
Sure. Well, first of all, early in January, we really didn't have a handle on a lot of the statistics of that we needed through the higher education office. But we do basically have a cap on it. Right now, when you look at the financial aid programs, at least the state grant programs, they will go up to about, I think it's roughly 50, 60, 70,000, and then pretty much drop off. So that there really isn't any state assistance into those income levels above that. This takes it much higher, and it goes up to about $125,000. And so it's still capped above that amount. But because it's the last dollar effort put into it, that was what really lowered the cost a lot, because you have first the federal grant money, secondly the state grant money, and then this particular program would fill in that other gap. So I think that those are the factors that kind of brought the overall cost down.
Now you had the estimates were about 25,000 students would be served. Now you're bringing this down to 3,000. Is it academic qualifications? I mean, that's a huge decrease in the number of students served, which has got to be more than just income caps.
Well, I think obviously any new program, I mean, we're starting out, the first year would be, you know, like if we get it off the ground so that students next year can take advantage of it, you start out in kind of an uphill growth. So I think the numbers would go up as the program's in place and operating. So the 3,500 students is an initial 2-year estimate of how many students would be in that program.